so many of Simona's poems are lyrics of itinerance, it is perhaps fitting to begin by telling you where she's recently been. Shortly after 9/11, she left New York for Morocco, where she helped to open an art house cinematheque in an old Bollywood theater that was then being auctioned off. During the 4 years that she never intended to spend there but did, she intermittently traveled to St. Petersburg to work on translating the work of Daniel Carnes. She had bartended in Alaska, worked on a vineyard in Italy, and she passed the summer in Damascus just weeks before the revolution broke out. And today, we find her here among us in Berkeley, where she is a doctoral candidate of comparative literature, studying Russian, English, and Arabic poetry, as well as film. Simona is a person who makes me wish that there were some word like polyglot to designate fluency with different artistic mediums. Her work discloses to us a zone of convergence between word and moving image. In a poem called Equinox, she does to Pasolini what Williams did to Bruegel. By reading her, in other words, we are able to see the film anew. Her lines are less like containers of thought than strange vehicles of transport that carry you onto the next vision that you will then pass by. As you will see, she has a rare gift for sending the poetic image on the move without such motion seeming like sheer restlessness. Sometimes the movement we track is a literal voyage, other times the flights of the mind. One thing I appreciate very much about her poems of Odyssey is that they are so adept in demurring from a romanticized ideal of travel. The danger of indulging too much in wistfulness is always undercut by a gentle-minded irony. In her poem, Promiscuity, a picturesque scene of a train trip across America is interrupted by the sight of a, quote, gas station to save our souls. Foregoing the epic, she depicts episodes of habitual transit, sometimes to quite comic effect, as in her meditation on Velcro while on the metro. I wanted to take a moment to mark how her roving sonic images are engaged with the visual arts. Simona has lately been preoccupied by two ideas. First, the double exposure, which renders visible the co-presence of different times in a single photograph. And second, Eisenstein's interest in the contrapuntal composition of sound and image. She mentioned that with respect to montage, she wants to emphasize that each image has its own possibilities, even if limited by the next. I find that her poems seem less interested in producing a single melodious line than generating resonance between what is disparate. This practice of overlay is not limited to the orchestration of images, but also involves a coordination within her poetry of the 7 languages and literatures that she speaks. Tonight she'll read for you some freshly written poetry, but you can find earlier works in the Brooklyn Rail, Bedouin, Coconut, the Columbia Review, and Kippur. Her translations, one of which includes a translation of Pushkin's resignation letter, have appeared in Harper's, The New Yorker, Aufgabe, and in a volume published by Open Temple Press. But before I send us off to her, I wanted to share with you what she shared with me about how her study of Arabic literature has convinced her to return to meet her. For her, one of the most compelling features of classical Arabic poetry is the rela, a poetic conceit which begins with someone crying at the ruins of something lost, a foregone love, a place, and then proceeds with the poet setting off across the desert toward a new site. In these migratory lyrics, rhythm takes primacy over place, and perhaps you will hear this as she begins.